Hey, Edgar community. I'm excited to be back with another expert interview. Today, we're joined by Stephen Claiborne. Now, Stephen is a mindset and performance coach, and he is determined to help people reach his success. So what a better guest to bring you today. He brings a lot of his personal life into his coaching style, which we talk about a lot here. That unique selling perspective and that know, like, and trust factor is so important when it comes to marketing yourself. So I'm excited to get Stephen's takes on some things. I'm going to pass it over to Stephen to introduce himself a little bit, and then we'll start asking some questions around mindset and entrepreneurship to help you out. So Stephen, go right ahead.
So thank you for the introduction, Megan. I'm Stephen Claiborne. Been an entrepreneur for the last 10, 15 years. Been in coaching for about a year and a half. Found some great success with my clients, just kind of coming at it from a practical standpoint. And the mindset, I mean, that's something I've lived in my personal life. So I understand how important mindset is in entrepreneurship and really just life moving forward. So that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. So one of the reasons I'm especially excited to talk with you is because of your amazing success that you've had losing weight and bringing the concepts that you took from your amazing weight loss into your business. I think this is one of the coolest things to do in life, is to find something that works in one area and be able to transfer it to another. So can you talk us through some specifics on what you actually learned through that process and how you're still using that to motivate yourself in your business today?
So for me, that's been a big journey, right? At one point, I was 464 pounds. Decided one day that I wasn't doing the right things. Kind of came to terms with my own self. I mean, I think for people, the hardest part that we have to deal with is knowing what our flaws are, right? We love to talk about how great we are at things, but for me, and I think most people have to figure out what you're not good at. And what I had figured out is, I had an unhealthy and really an addiction to food. It had been going on for years, and finally got to the point where I remember this not like it was yesterday. I was driving with my wife from dinner, and she's having a conversation with what she thinks is me. And all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. And she kind of turns at me and looks kind of funny, and she goes, "What do you mean done?" I said, "I've got to lose this weight. Like, I got to get my crap together, to be honest with you." And one thing for me is, I've owned a lot of businesses, and I've always really focused on the business and took care of that. The problem is I didn't take care of myself. So I kind of got on a mission and really changed my mind focus and found myself through the whole process. And what I mean by that is, what I tell my clients is, you've got to find what you're good at and what you can win at, right? Well, I knew I could win at business, but I needed to win at something else in my life, and that was my health. I have 4 small children. I've got a wife. And I had the flashbacks of, if something happens to me, who's going to raise my kids? So it was more that realization of, you got to get it together. So I went on the journey, started dieting. I lost about 100 pounds without working out. It was just essentially, I was very strict on what I ate. Once I got in the 360s, 370s, I started, adding some CrossFit and some stuff like that. Lost down another 50 or 60 pounds. And then that's really where I got serious about fitness. And now, I do CrossFit in the mornings at 5:30 in the morning. I bike 13 to 15 miles a day. If I can't bike, I normally walk. So I'm doing normally 2 workouts a day, trying to watch what I eat. And where the mindset came for me is, I was riding my bike a couple months ago, windy outside. I'm still a big guy, right? I mean, I've lost a little over 200 pounds, but I was on that bike, the wind was blowing, and I'm like a parachute, right? So I'm a couple miles in, Megan, and here goes the mind, the games we play with ourselves. And it's like, you know what? That's good for today. Turn around. That'd be 4 miles total. No one can say you didn't get it done. The problem is that's not the kind of relationship we need, right? Because it is true, and this is where I found out, that your mind will stop way before your body ever does. So what I decided to do is pretty much tell my mind that's not going to happen. And I ended up riding 15 miles that day on that bike ride. And you talk about feeling accomplished when I was done. But that's what really clicked for me, that you do have control of your mind. Sometimes we don't feel like that way. We feel like our mind's in control, and sometimes we're not very nice to ourselves, or we blow things out of proportion that, always worst case scenario. And that's normally it normally doesn't happen that way. But you've really got to focus in on on you and learning who you are and learning how to control your mind. I mean, that's our destiny, right? That's what creates us. That's what propels us forward in success is taking control of your thoughts. And it's hard. It takes work. I mean, for me, a big part of my life now that I didn't realize was so important was routines, morning routines, right? I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I go to the gym. I get home. I journal. I read my books. I do all that in the morning, and my days go so much better when I can get that stuff done before really the world wakes up. And the weight loss for me has become, that was my mountain to conquer. And when I finally started getting to where I could, do the CrossFit like I'm supposed to, and ride the bike 15 miles a day, that was a huge accomplishment. I mean, I love to say, yeah, I've built and sold businesses and I know how to work that business, but always in the back of my mind, the one thing I could never conquer was the weight issues, the addiction to food. And it's still a battle every day. And that's what I tell people. Like I wake up every day and I battle that, but I have to make the choice to make those better choices in my life because people are counting on me to do that. And I'm counting on myself to get that done. So it's really about holding yourself accountable or holding myself accountable to who I really want to be and how I want to impact people. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you dropped some really amazing gems right there. The first being, if you don't have your health, your business doesn't matter. So I love your focus on that, especially right now when we all need to be making sure that we're controlling our stress levels, making sure we're in a great frame of mind to actually support the people that matter. And this idea of making an impact in your business, what you just left us with right there is pretty beautiful, because if we can see an impact that our business is making on the world, I feel like we have so much more motivation and we're so much more excited to actually take those steps to push our business forward. And that can only come if you do take care of yourself. So I love that so much. And really getting to know yourself when you're speaking a little bit about the fact that you need to know what you're good at and not good at, and doing that work isn't exactly fun, I feel like, for a lot of entrepreneurs. It's not something that we are taught in school to do, but it's so important that we are really self-aware so that our businesses can grow and that we can ask for help when we need it, and that we can really, like you were mentioning, make a choice to push through those hard times, to make that commitment and really have that why in the back of our head. Like you said, you have kids counting on you. That's your why for losing weight. So what's your why, Team Edgar community? What are you guys working towards that you can really make that choice to set yourself up for success? So I think that's so wise. So I would love to shift ideas here, because you've said a couple of times how many businesses that you've actually created. So I would love to go into a little bit of the tips that you have, especially for people starting a new business right now, for getting a new business off the ground. What are some of your sort of great nitty-gritty secrets that you can give our community here?
It takes hard work. It's we were in the energy sector for a long time, and I think the biggest thing I would tell entrepreneurs is first is make sure you truly want to be an entrepreneur, right? I feel like that's kind of become a buzzword over the last few years that everybody is an entrepreneur. But truly understand what you're getting into, right? It's a full-time gig. It you have to make those strides every day to better your company, to better your situation, to be better than your competitors. And it's hard sometimes, right? I used to tell people all the time when I was in those businesses, I'm like, I quit every night around 11 or 12 o'clock. And every morning when I wake up, I tell myself I've got one more day in me. I can do one more day. And that's kind of how I did it, right? And I tell a lot of my coaching clients now that I think for business owners, everyone's looking for that home run, right? You hear about the Facebooks and the Googles, and to do a baseball analogy, Megan, the best thing in business is what you've got to worry about is base hits. If you can get base hits every day, eventually you're going to score runs. And every once in a while, you're going to hit that one out of the park. But every day is not going to be hitting it out of the park. And the other thing I would tell people is do what you're good at in your business, right? If you're good at selling, then sell. If you're good at creating, then create. And everything else, let somebody that knows what they're doing do that, whether that's outsourcing. And don't try to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, because what I learned early in my career is there was things I was great at and there was things I was no good at. and those things that I wasn't good at, I didn't want to do. So they always fell to the wayside, which ended up hurting my business more than helping us thrive as business owners, because it's not what my cup of tea was. So we got very good at outsourcing um, the parts of the business that we didn't want to manage or didn't want to take on. But really, the best advice I can get is if you've got a plan and you want to be an entrepreneur, run after it and run as hard as you can run, and don't look up. I mean, that's pretty much what I would tell them.
Nice. I love that baseball analogy. I'm definitely going to use that in life. That makes so much sense. Every time you try something, every time you show up on social media or you show up in your newsletter, or you try something new in your business, you're setting yourself up for success. You're getting to that next play. And like you mentioned, I love this idea that you're going to eventually hit it out of the park. So don't quit while you're not getting to that good part. It's those companies that are consistent and keep pushing through that really do see that success. And I think that's a beautiful way to describe it right there. And really getting to know yourself, it comes up as this topic again and again, with the fact that you want to know what your zone of genius is, I guess is kind of the buzzwords that's going around on that. And I feel like it's not that hard to outsource these days either. A lot of you out there are solopreneurs, you're running a business and you're like, I can't grow a team right now. But don't forget about the other options of sites like Upwork or Fiverr that you can actually go to and outsource these things that might not be your strengths. So that, like Stephen mentioned, you can really put your entire heart and soul into what's going on in your zone of genius there. So that's really nice. So I would love to end the interview here with anything else that you would love to share, whether it's about how you're finding your motivation in your business or any tip that you can go ahead and give our community. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up and let us know where we can reach you outside of this YouTube channel here.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think one thing I would wrap up with, especially, people on social media, is be authentic, right? That's how I'm trying to build my social media. Is I think we're seeing a trend, or we had seen a trend in years where everybody was successful and everybody was happy. It was the perfect life on social media. And I'm not saying air all your dirty laundry, but what I'm saying is people want to see authentic. For me, my Instagram account is really just me. It's been a lot of my weight loss journey and working out and stuff, because I want people to see behind the coach and the entrepreneur and that guy, to see, hey, this is a real guy. And I'm hoping to inspire people. That's what my mission in life now is, just to inspire. And I think everybody should to try to inspire. One thing I've tried to live by, and I think everybody should live by, is as you're climbing those rungs of the ladder to success, it's your duty to reach down and grab the next person by the hand and start pulling them up, right? I don't ever think you should, as an entrepreneur or person, period, think that you need to step on top of someone to get to where you want to go. Because the problem is, when you get there, it's going to be real lonely at the top. And I think those are great words to live by. And that's the advice I would give entrepreneurs: is there's plenty out there for everybody. And help everybody that you can, because eventually that's going to come back around, right? We're all here on earth. We're trying to be good people, or most of us are trying to be good people. And that's how we should treat our social media people. That's how we should treat the people we interact with every day. It's all about being good leaders and stewards of what we're born with. And everyone's got their own talents, and using those talents to help other people.
What a absolutely beautiful way to end this. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it so much. It is about collaboration over competition. And if you don't have that mindset, and if you're not in that, look for ways that you can collaborate today. Don't put it off any longer, because your business is counting on you to do that. So thank you so much. We will go ahead and link in the description to this video where you can get in touch if you want to learn more. And if you have any other questions at all for Stephen, and give this video a like if you are going to go out and use some of these awesome tips. And remember, you can always email support@meetedgar.com if you have any other questions. Thank you so much for your time today, Stephen.